Welcome back everyone to this week's PDH Deck Tech. I'm Joseph, and this week we are in Esper, giving us the colors of white, blue, and black. And our commander today is Sludge Strider. Sludge Strider is a 3/3 artifact creature insect for 1 white, blue, black that has whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, or another artifact you control leaves the battlefield, you may pay 1 mana. If you do, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This commander is crystal clear about what it wants. It uses artifacts to drain our opponents, stealing life and then giving it to us. Amazingly, it triggers both whenever an artifact enters and whenever an artifact leaves the battlefield. The only cost is a single colorless mana. This makes it a slam dunk for our choice of Esper commander, and is likely the strongest Esper commander in PDH. This deck is going to be all about those artifacts, a theme that is extremely well supported in Esper colors. We're going to use disposable artifacts to synergize with our commander's ability, and then use plenty of support cards to make sure we can recycle our scrapyard again and again for maximum value. Specifically, our deck is going to take full advantage of egg cards, which is a fun piece of magic slang. Here, I'm defining an egg as a permanent you play that may not have any immediate effect or value, but then you can use its activated ability later to sacrifice it and gain an effect. 2 of the most well-known eggs in the format are Wayfarer's Bauble and Nihil Spellbomb, which we will be using in our deck. In fact, we'll be using almost every Spellbomb card we have access to, including Flight, Sunbeam, and Aether. I really like these because they're cheap, they can sacrifice for a fairly valuable effect, or we can also use them to loot and draw a card. We also have some other eggs that will be incredibly valuable as removal. Dispeller's Capsule helps us deal with artifacts and enchantments, but Executioner's Capsule and Moonglove Extract can help take out creatures. We also have some creatures that act as eggs. Auriok Replica can prevent all damage dealt by a single source. Nirok Replica can bounce a creature, and Wizard's Replica can counter a spell. All of these are very valuable effects, and simply having them visible on the table can actually be great for playing some psychological games with our opponents, affecting all of their gameplay. But the most valuable eggs that we have are going to be eggs that can draw us cards or produce mana for us. Cards like Spare Supplies and Chromatic Star are great because they will replace themselves, allowing us to get the benefit of our commander's ability without losing card advantage. Chromatic Star will even give us mana to activate our commander's ability with. Of course, the ultimate eggs for this deck are going to be token artifacts such as treasures. We're going to be generating them as consistently as possible, with equipment like Gold Vein Pickaxe, but also with Undercity Scrounger. The advantage of treasures, besides the obvious, is that we can sacrifice them for free to generate the mana that we can then use to pay our commander's ability, which will trigger on them being sacrificed. In short, every treasure directly translates into 1 life point we steal from our opponents. But we're also going to be making use of other artifact tokens, so we will include Ceremonial Knife and Giant's Skewer, which will make blood and food tokens we can sacrifice for card selection or for life. But enough about eggs. We're amassing a huge amount of artifacts. How are we going to synergize with them? First off, we're going to make those artifacts incredibly cheap, with Ethereum Sculptor and Foundry Inspector. Each of these will give us a 1 mana discount, which makes many of our eggs completely free. Arsenal Thresher is a great Esper-specific card that counts the number of artifacts in our hand and can enter with several +1 counters on it. And a Gearseeker Serpent will easily become super cheap, and then be an unblockable 5/6. Leonin Elder is a criminally underused card, and will gain us life off every single artifact that enters the battlefield, no matter who controls it. And War Report can completely turn the game around for us. This sorcery counts all of the creatures on the battlefield. Then, also, all of the artifacts on the battlefield. This will gain us life off every artifact we have, token or not, and our artifact creatures will count for double. We'll then be protecting our artifact creatures with instants, like Blacksmith's Skill, but we can also flash an Aethersworn Shield Mage, which can be a one-sided fog effect for our creatures. Guard Familiar is a great way to protect a creature with ward, and Loxodon Mender can regenerate any artifact for just 1 mana. And when we do lose our artifacts, we can use Fortuitous Find as a 2-for-1 recursion spell, while Frantic Salvage can let us basically put our graveyard back on top of our library. And Mere Retriever and Sanctum Gargoyle are both excellent artifact creatures that will return artifacts to our hand. Now, we have a pretty balanced deck, with great ramp, draw, removal, recursion, and artifact synergy, but we still need to look at closing the game. As much value as we are going to get out of our commander's ability, it's very slow for trying to defeat our opponents. Luckily, Esper Colors gives us plenty of artifact synergy options to take out our opponents in a variety of ways. First off, let's find some extra things we can sacrifice artifacts to. Moldfolk can sacrifice artifacts to give itself +1 counters, but it also has lifelink, which can be very valuable. Rusted Slasher can sacrifice artifacts to regenerate itself, so it can swing with impunity. And Sage of Latinam is straight value, allowing us to turn any artifact into straight card draw. All of these artifact synergies are going to be huge for Disciple of the Vault, which we can use to double up on our commander's ability to make enemies lose life. In addition, all of the artifacts in the graveyard are going to really pump up Salvage Slasher, giving it huge power very easily. But remember, we also have lots of artifacts entering the battlefield. These will be perfect synergy for Glassdust Hulk and Glaze Fiend, giving us 2 creatures that will get massive temporary buffs, but, more importantly, some excellent evasion. However, the best value card in our deck is going to be Golem Foundry. For every 3 artifact spells, we will get a free 3/3 Golem. And we can generate those Golems at instant speed, so we never have to be afraid of losing the counters to like a Naturalize effect. We can put this on the battlefield early and just let it accumulate counters, using the Golems as gotcha blockers, or, late in the game, just pulling them all off and making an army. And how do we make that lethal? Well, we can use Sky Shaper to give all of our Golems flying for an Alpha Strike. Or more likely, we can use Cranial Plating, which can use its attach ability at instant speed to make an unblocked Golem hit for lethal. I hope you enjoyed this Sludge Strider deck. Playing with artifacts can be strange because the tempo is a little slower, so our opponents will probably see all of the plays that we'll be making. However, there's just so many synergies with artifacts that we will never be short of impactful game-winning cards. This deck is going to cost us about $15.50. The deck list is in the description. Please like and subscribe and come back next week when we get ghoulish in Grixis.